Good morning. Welcome to the Millionaire Book Club. My name is Pearlie Hunter. Side effects of tapping in with me every single morning do include personal development, mindset transformations, paradigm shifts, and the ability to think your way to success. So I'm super grateful. Today is Thursday morning. Drop me something that you're grateful for in the chat. I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for this day. I'm grateful for my life. Of course, my children, my spouse, my parents, another day to serve in my purpose. I'm grateful for every day is seeming like my connection is getting easier, if that makes sense. Like every single day, like I used to have days where I was feeling like I'm in alignment today, I'm out today. I'm in today, I'm out today. But I'm grateful because I've been feeling in alignment pretty much consistently. So people were saying stuff about like the retrograde and all of this stuff. I don't know if it got anything to do with that stuff, but I feel great. What else I'm grateful for? I'm grateful for family. My nephew came home yesterday. He just got in from Italy. He won the Euro Cup championship. So he is like a Euro champion. Okay. So I'm super grateful for that. Um, I'm grateful for my soul family, of course, everybody who take the time to get up in the morning, get up with me and sit up with me and listen to me read, right? I'm so grateful for y'all. Grateful for our energy exchange every morning. I'm grateful for your sisterhood or brotherhood. I'm just super, super grateful. So Barb said, I am so super grateful for this day. I am just in my spirit. I am so grateful, and I am grateful for today. I'm grateful for God. I'm grateful for my family. I'm grateful for the book club. I just am so grateful. It's bubbling up in me, the gratefulness. Girl, that's how it's supposed to be, right? That wish. Assume the wish fulfilled. The feeling is the secret, but gratitude and love, like you definitely doing something right. You're on the right track. I'm pretty sure the universe is loving all of that energy radiating off of your beautiful skin, your beautiful self, right? So cool. If you go back and watch this on YouTube, drop me something that you're grateful for, please. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel yet, subscribe to the YouTube at I Coach Wealth. For my Facebook people, we're going to be going back to Instagram next book, okay? So if you're not subscribed to the YouTube, definitely go ahead and subscribe so you can catch up on the reads because they won't be pretty much on Facebook all day like they were the last couple months. So, all right, cool. Let's get the daily word read. I feel like I'm extra bright right now. It's extra bright on me. Okay. Ew. Thursday, June 17th. Okay. Thursday, June 17th. The daily word is divine order. I plant seeds of hope and harvest the fruits of success. I plant seeds of hope and harvest the fruits of success. To harvest ripe fruit, I must first plant a tree in nurturing soil where it can get sunshine and rainfall. The tree must grow strong before the fruit appears and is ready to eat. Likewise, when I wish to harvest the fruits of my efforts, I begin by taking good care of myself. Tending to the well being of my spiritual self aligns me with the truth that I am a divine being, endowed with the strength, wisdom, and love of God. Before any undertaking, I ground myself in that truth, ready to take the steps necessary to bring my efforts to fruition. With patience, I plant the seeds of my success and wait with a grateful, expectant heart for the results of my labor to yield their fruit in season. So we do not lose heart, even though our outer nature is wasting away. Our inner nature is being renewed day by day. Okay. 2 Corinthians 4:16. I like that. Divine order. Everything happens in divine right time. Divine action, divine order, divine time. Right? This this read is divine. You here for a divine reason. Crystal said, I am grateful for everything. I am grateful that I was blessed to open my eyes. I am grateful for my family, friends, etc. Life is a blessing and I am grateful. Yes, Queen. Life is a blessing. I'm super grateful, y'all. Attitudes of gratitude all around here. Okay. Attitude of gratitude. Let's pull a card. This is the Four Agreements card deck, I guess. Four Agreements. We read the Four Agreements. It was our fifth book that we read. It was so good. I wasn't recording on YouTube at that point, so I don't have the good morning, Quincy. Good morning, King. I don't have the recording, so you can go back. But it was a good book. Super good book. Let's a card. Let's see what's gonna fall out. I don't want them to just fly at me. Tell us. Oh no, not this many though. Tell us what we need to do today. Spirit. Don't take something personal today. Don't assume. I don't got no message today, y'all. I feel like that's not the right one for us. We had this one yesterday. Let go of self-judgment and blame. Be impeccable with your word. Being impeccable, you take responsibility for your actions, but you do not judge or blame yourself for anything. We got this one yesterday too. Or the day before it. Some point in this week. I went through all of these yesterday and just read them because I feel like we're going to be pulling them all. We pull the same ones. Make sure they ain't get me. They ain't jit me. Give me doubles of the same stuff. They did. All right, I'm going to just have to pick one. Don't take anything personally. Your truth is personal to you, which we had this one before too. Your truth is personal to you. Your own opinions and point of view reflect your own agreement and are personal to you. It is no one else's truth but yours. Okay? So your opinions and point of view reflect your own agreements and are personal to you. And everybody else that you encounter has their own agreements that they agree to, right? And that's true to them only, not you. Perfect. All right, we're going to get the read started. Let's see what my equal says. Earth laughs and flowers. The earth laughs and flowers. So Awakened Imagination is the bonus book that we had in the Power of Awareness, and that's what we read in now. We on chapter 2. If I say something that resonates with you, please drop an MOC in the chat. MOC means moment of clarity. It's my way to connect with you guys, to just know what was the best part for you. You know what I'm saying? What stood out to you? Did you learn something? What was your moment of clarity during the read? So chapter 2 is called Sealed Instructions. Sealed Instructions. The first power that meets us at the threshold of the soul's domain is the power of imagination. Dr. Franz Hartmann. It was first made conscious of the power, nature, and redemptive function of imagination through the teachings of my friend Abdullah. And through subsequent experiences, I learned that Jesus was a symbol of the coming of imagination to man. That the test of his birth in man was the individual's ability to forgive sin. That is, his ability to identify himself or another with his aim in life. Without the identification of man with his aim, the forgiveness of sin is an impossibility. So this aim, I think about purpose. When they keep saying this aim, your aim, I'm thinking about that's parallel to purpose, okay? And without the identification of man with his aim or purpose, the forgiveness of sin is an impossibility. And only the Son of God can forgive sin. Therefore, Man's ability to identify himself with his aim, though reason and his senses deny it, is proof of the birth of Christ in him. Okay? So it's saying the moment that we gain enough strength to tap into our imagination, use it, believe it, Christ is born in us, right? We got our power. We have our power to create, to co-create with the source. To passively surrender to appearances and bow before the evidence of facts is to confess that Christ is not yet born in you. Okay? So to passively surrender to appearances, right? If you've given up based off what somebody said or what you see, to passively surrender to appearances and bow before the evidence of facts is to confess that Christ is not yet born in you. Okay? Although this teaching shocked and repelled me at first, for I was a convinced and earnest Christian, and did not then know that Christianity could not be inherited by the mere accident of birth, right? Christianity could not be inherited by the mere accident of birth or training, but must be consciously adopted as a way of life. Okay. A lot of times we don't even really question why we believe what we believe. We just know that's what we're doing what our family did, what our parents did. It stole later on through visions, mystical revelations, and practical experiences into my understanding and found its interpretation in a deeper mood. But I must confess that it is a trying time when those things are shaken, which has always taken for granted. Seest thou these great buildings? There shall not be left one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down. Mark 13:2. Not one stone of literal understanding. Oh, y'all, listen to this because this is true. If y'all feel this way, type a 1 in the chat. Not one stone of literal understanding will be left after one drinks the water of psychological meaning. Right? So once you start tapping into this stuff, the logic that we've been taught is not making sense no more. Is it still making sense to y'all after we know all that we know? Like the program? Do the program still make sense for humans? Do it still work? I don't think so. All that has been built up by natural religion is cast into the flames of mental fire. Yet, what better way is there to understand Christ Jesus than to identify the central character of the Gospels with human imagination? Knowing that every time you exercise your imagination lovingly on behalf of another, you are literally meditating God to man and thereby feeding and clothing Christ Jesus. And that whenever you imagine evil against another, you are literally beating and crucifying Christ Jesus. Okay? Every imagination of man is either the cup of cold water or the sponge of vinegar to the parched lips of Christ. And let me tell you why this makes so much sense to me. It makes so much sense because when you think about it, you know what I'm saying? You know how so many people have a hard time believing in God because they're like, well, what is it? Where is it? Who is it? Is it just this? Is it just that? You know what I'm saying? And I'm not going to say people have a hard time, but I feel like maybe truly believing, because if you truly believe, you would act certain ways and move certain ways and set certain boundaries and just have certain disciplines about yourself. You know what I'm saying? But when it's presented in this context, like, okay, we got the connection, right? It's not just, I'm just waiting to die and go to heaven to meet you or nothing. No, I can connect with you right now, right? Right now in the physical, every single day through my mind, right? I don't know. It just makes sense to me that way. Let none of you imagine evil in your hearts against his neighbor, warned the prophet Zechariah. When man heeds this advice, he will awake from the imposed sleep of Adam Listen to this. This is crazy. When man heeds this advice, he will awake from the imposed sleep of Adam and to the full consciousness of the Son of God. He is in the world, and the world is made by him, and the world knows him not. Human imagination. Okay. So when they say God is here, God is everywhere, right? Yes, that is so true. Then you understand. Yeah, it makes sense now why we do certain things or why we should be moving in certain ways, but they don't tell you that. I feel like they don't tell you that. They just say, because you're gonna go to hell. Because you're gonna go to hell. No, tell me the full story. Tell me you are gonna go to hell because your life gonna be a hell, right? Your whole life is gonna be in chaos when you're not connected to the source the right way, right? MOC for the queen. Yes. So many MOCs. It makes sense. That's why they say you're gonna go to hell if you don't obey, if you don't do this, if you don't do that. That's obeying your mind, like keeping your mind clear, right? Filtering out the negative, keeping it godly, keeping it pure. Listen, we onto something, y'all. Okay. I ask myself many times, if my imagination is Christ Jesus and all things are possible to Christ Jesus, are all things possible to me? Through experience, I have come to know that when I identify myself with my aim in life or my purpose, then Christ is awake in me. Okay? Christ is sufficient for all things. I lay down my life that I might take it again. No man taketh it from me, but I lay it down of myself. John 10:18. What a comfort it is to know that all that I experience is the result of my own standard of beliefs, that I am the center of my own web of circumstances, and that as I change, so must my outer world, right? As I change, so must my outer world. How many times do you run into people who give themselves an excuse to be less than, right? I can't change. This is how I am. This is how I've always did it, right? No, be open to changing, be open to growing, right? Don't keep yourself stuck on a negative frequency because you want to be resistant. Like you literally just willingly saying, keep me on this negative frequency so I can keep attracting bullshit. No, it don't make sense. Okay. The world presents different appearances according as our states of consciousness differ. The world presents different appearances according as our states of consciousness differ. What we see when we are identified with the state cannot be seen when we are no longer fused with it. Okay? Look, Barb, you like, oh, she cursed it now. Sorry. I apologize for that. I'm just saying, people just don't get it. By state is meant all that man believes and consents to as true. Okay, let me read that over. The world presents different appearances according as our states of consciousness differ. What we see when we are identified with the state cannot be seen when we are no longer fused with it. By state is meant all that man believes and consents to as true. Okay. No idea presented to the mind can realize itself unless the mind accepts it. It depends on the acceptance, the state with which we are identified, how things present themselves. In the fusion of imagination and states is to be found the shaping of the world as it seems. The world is a revelation of the states with which imagination is fused. It is the state from which we think that determines the objective world in which we live. It is the state from which we think that determines the objective world in which we live. Okay? The rich man, the poor man, the good man, the thief are what they are by virtue of the states from which they view the world. Okay? And we didn't touch on this before. The rich man, the poor man, the good man, the thief are what they are by virtue of the states from which they view the world, right? They made up of all the same substances, right? But they obviously view the world different because they landed in different positions in life, right? One is rich, one is poor, one is good, one is a thief, right? How does that happen? How does that happen? It happens somewhere up here. Somewhere up here, your way of thinking, what you accepting, your worth, how you feel. You don't feel like you're worthy of getting something, so you steal it, right? On the distinction between these states depends the distinction between the worlds of these men. Good morning, King. Welcome. Individually, so different is the same world. It is not the actions and behavior of the good man that should be matched, but his point of view. Outer reforms are useless if the inner state is not changed, right? Outer reforms are useless if the inner state is not changed, right? So I think about all of these women getting this body work, right? They want this body work because they want an outer appearance to fulfill an inner feeling. They want this outer because I feel like they want the outer appearance to attract something that's from within, though. You know what I'm saying? Whatever they wanting, why they feeling like they need to do these things, is from something that they lacking from within, but they trying to change the outside to get it. And I'm pretty sure if we talk to a lot of these people, they still not fulfilled in the way that they thought they would be fulfilled with the big old, you know. Okay. So outer reforms are useless if the inner state is not changed. Success is gained not by imitating the outer actions of the successful, but by right inner actions and inner talking. Okay? So success is gained not by imitating the outer actions of the successful, but by right inner actions and inner talking. Now, I was watching this live yesterday. This girl, she a trader, so wealthy, so good at what she do, and she said something that made so much sense. Like everybody see what I've when I arrive, what I've become, but nobody's seeing the journey of becoming, right? So everybody wants my glory, but nobody wants my story, right? You got to be willing to go through the stuff that I went through. You can't just say, "Oh, I want all of the money and the trade, the traveling and all of that." She went through years of stuff, right? Years of losing trades, years of just going through it. And so people don't understand that part. They don't see that part. But you gotta think about that part. So when it comes to your own journey, don't compare your journey in the beginning to somebody who's at their end, right? Don't compare your beginning journey to somebody who's at their end. Just walk your journey every single day with gratitude, with love, with appreciation, because you know that you're creating, right? And you know that it's no way that your desire can't come to pass if you holding it in your head like that, right? If you putting all your energy towards it positively, okay? If we detach ourselves from a state, and we may at any moment, the conditions and circumstances to which that union gave being vanish. It was in the fall of 1933 in New York City that I approached Abdullah with the problem. He asked me one simple question: what do you want? I told him that I would like to spend the winter in Barbados, but that I was broke. I literally did not have a nickel. If you will imagine yourself to be in Barbados, said he, thinking and viewing the world from that state of consciousness, instead of thinking of Barbados, listen to this, y'all, this major key. Her name is Terry Gioma. I'll send you her stuff, girl. She good. I love her. And she likes spiritual too, like us. Okay. Thinking and viewing the world from that state of consciousness instead of thinking of Barbados, you will spend the winter there. You must not concern yourself with the ways and means of getting there. For the state of consciousness of already being in Barbados, if occupied by your imagination, will devise the means best suited to realize itself. Okay. Man lives by committing himself to invisible states, by fusing his imagination with what he knows to be other than himself. And in this union, he experiences the results of that fusion. No one can lose what he has saved by detachment from the state where the things experienced have their natural life. Okay. So even when it comes to just regular, not even this type of stuff, but just going to get a job here. Let's just say we going to get a job. Before you go and get that job, you thought about it, right? It started in your imagination. You saw yourself in this position. You saw yourself going to the interview. You mocked out how you was going to do it, right? you you came up, you gave yourself questions and scenarios and prepared yourself, right? You got to be willing to do all these things for your real dream, your real desire, for the stuff that you want to do as well. Because everything starts in the mind, no matter what. Everything starts in the mind. We doing this book club every day. We've been doing this every day for 6 months now, right? But 6 months ago, we wasn't doing it. It was just a thought that I had, right? It was like, this will be good. And thankfully, I had people around me who were pushing me, right? Pushing me to be my best self, pushing me to be great. And that's why forming a community is so important, because you want to have people who pushing you to your greatness, right? Not accepting the less version of you. And I feel like all of us here, especially all of us that show up every single day, we are each other's accountability partner. I'm y'all number one accountability partner, right? I'm always coming, always coming. But we are each other's accountability partners. And it's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. Okay. You must imagine yourself right into the state of your fulfilled desire, Abdullah told me, and fall asleep viewing the world from Barbados. Have y'all been having trouble with this? I kind of been having trouble with this. Like, I feel like for a minute, when I'm falling asleep, I get into that zone, but then I'm asleep. Before I know it, I'm asleep. And it's like, did I do it? Did I do it right? How y'all's been going? Let me know in the comments. Have y'all been able to actually see things, or y'all just been falling asleep? The world which we describe from observation must be as we describe it relative to ourselves. The world which we describe from observation must be as we describe it relative to ourselves. Our imagination connects us with the state desired, but we must use imagination masterfully, okay? Not as an onlooker. Listen to this. This is important. We must use imagination masterfully, not as an onlooker thinking of the end, but as a partaker thinking from the end. Okay. Yes, Crystal, me too. Oh, everybody bet. Okay, we'll get better. Maybe that's how it's supposed to be then. I think that's probably how it's supposed to be, because then we release that control and then our subconscious does the rest. That's what's going on. Gotta be. But did y'all just hear this? Look, but we must use imagination masterfully, not as an onlooker thinking of the end, right? We're not thinking of the end, but as a partaker thinking from the end, right? We in that thing. We there. We're not thinking of the end. We're thinking from the end. We must actually be there in imagination. So that's why when it comes to your goal, right? When it comes to a goal, a lot of people is thinking of the end, right? They thinking about how it's going to be when everything is completed, everything is done, but nobody is probably actually seeing themselves from the end. They're just thinking of the end. It makes sense. We must actually be there in imagination. If we do this, our subjective experience will be realized objectively. This is not mere fancy, said he, but a truth you can prove by experience. His appeal to enter into the wish fulfilled was the secret of thinking from the end. Every state is already there as mere possibility, as long as you think of it, but is overpoweringly real when you think from it. Okay? So every state is a mere possibility when you think of it. But when you think from it, it becomes overpoweringly real. I began right there and then fixing my thoughts beyond the limits of sense, beyond that aspect to which my present state gave being, towards the feeling of already being in Barbados and viewing the world from that standpoint. He emphasized the importance of the state from which man views the world as he falls asleep. All prophets claim that the voice of God is chiefly heard by man in dreams. In a dream, in a vision of the night, when deep sleep falleth upon men, and slumberings upon the bed, then he openeth the ears of men and sealeth their instruction. Okay, that's Job 33:15-16. Okay, in a dream, in a vision of the night, when deep sleep falleth upon men, and slumberings upon the bed, then he openeth the ears of men and sealeth their instruction. That night, and for several nights thereafter, I fell asleep in the assumption that I was in my father's house in Barbados. Within a month, I received a letter from my brother saying that he had a strong desire to have the family together at Christmas and asking me to use the enclosed steamship ticket for Barbados. I sailed 2 days after I received my brother's letter and spent a wonderful winter in Barbados. This experience has convinced me that man can be anything he pleases if he will make the conception habitual and think from the end. It has also shown me that I can no longer excuse myself by placing the blame on the world of external things. Okay? I can no longer excuse myself by placing the blame on the world of external things. Myself. That it depends on the state from which I view the world, how things present themselves. Okay? Man who is free in his choice acts from conceptions which he freely, though not always wisely, chooses. All conceivable states are awaiting our choice and occupancy, but no amount of rationalizing will of itself yield us the state of consciousness, which is the only thing worth having. Okay. All conceivable states are awaiting our choice and occupancy. All conceivable states are awaiting our choice and occupancy, right? All conceivable states, right? We're not limited because we this race or that race. We're not limited because we grew up in this area or that area. We're not limited because of nothing, right? All conceivable states are awaiting our choice and occupancy. But no amount of rationalizing will of itself yield us the state of consciousness, which is the only thing worth having. The imaginative image is the only thing to seek. Okay? This is the spiritual side of success, y'all. The imaginative image is the only thing to seek. The ultimate purpose of imagination is to create in us the spirit of Jesus, which is continual forgiveness of sin, continual identification of man with his ideal. Only by identifying ourselves with our aim or our purpose can we forgive ourselves for having missed it. Okay? Only by identifying ourselves with our aim can we forgive ourselves for having missed it. All else is labor in vain. On this path, to whatever place or state we convey our imagination, to that place or state we will gravitate physically also. On this path, to whatever place or state we convey our imagination, to that place or state we will gravitate physically also. In my father's house, and here's the thing, I just thought about something, because somebody could probably say, well, I do desire to do this or be more or have more, right? I do do this, right? I do imagine myself being here. I do. But if you're not doing it, housing the right energies and frequencies inside of you, you are repelling the things that you want from you, right? You are sending them away. You not attracting them to you. So all of this stuff got to come together, right? You can't just do this thing and not that thing. You have to be working on your thoughts. You got to be working on the things you speak, the ways you feeling, keeping your feelings and emotions on a high frequency. It all goes together, as well as going into your imagination, doing that type of work, right? And then it's just so funny going outside, meditating. This is a lot of little stuff that you do or have to do. And just think, if we wasn't stuck in between four walls for 8, 12, 10, 12 hours a day, we would have so much time to do it, right? I'm just saying, before these systems was built, that's probably all they did. Okay. What was that? Okay. In my father's house are many mansions. If it were not so, I would have told you. I go to prepare a place for you. And if I go and prepare a place for you, I will come again and receive you unto myself, that where I am, there ye may be also. John 14:2. By sleeping in my father's house in my imagination, as though I slept there in the flesh, I fused my imagination with that state and was compelled to experience that state in the flesh also. So vivid was this state to me, I could have been seen in my father's house had any sensitive entered the room where in imagination I was sleeping. A man can be seen where in imagination he is. For a man must be where his imagination is. For his imagination is himself. This I know from experience, for I have been seen by a few to whom I desire to be seen, when physically I was hundreds of miles away. Okay. Now this is something I'm gonna have to check out. Right. That's I'm gonna have to check that out. I, by the intensity of my imagination and feeling, imagining and feeling myself to be in Barbados instead of merely thinking of Barbados, has spanned the vast Atlantic to influence my brother into desiring my presence to complete the family circle at Christmas. Thinking from the end, from the feeling of my wish fulfilled, was the source of everything that happened as outer cause, such as my brother's impulse to send me a steamship ticket. And it was also the cause of everything that appeared as results. In Ideas of Good and Evil, page 35, W.B. Yeats, having described a few experiences similar to this experience of mine, writes, if all who have described events like this have not dreamed, we should rewrite our histories. For all men, certainly all imaginative men, must be forever casting forth enchantments, glamour, illusions. And all men, especially tranquil men who have no power, egotistic life, must be continually passing under their power. Okay? Determined imagination, thinking from the end, is the beginning of all miracles. Determined imagination, thinking from the end, is the beginning of all miracles. So you're not thinking about the problem, right? You thinking about the end, everything being solved, you having everything exactly the way you would prefer it to be. Okay. I would like to give you an immense belief in miracles, but a miracle is only the name given by those who have no knowledge of the power and function of imagination to the works of imagination. Okay. So we won't be able to call things miracles that much anymore, because we know that we are creating, right? We attracting certain things, we manifesting, right? But for people on the outside who have no clue about the law of attraction, no clue about the law of assumption, no clue about manifestation, no clue about the spiritual side to success and how, our mind has a conscious and a subconscious. People who have no clue about this stuff, when all of these things start happening, right? It's gonna look like, wow, how is God doing all of this for you, right? But honestly, we doing all this for ourselves by every day connecting to source, which is within us, right? Going into our imagination, and creating our life, writing our movie, right? Not creating our reality, not watching somebody else's fake reality on TV, right? A fake ass reality TV show. No, right? That's a distraction. That's a distraction. You create your own reality. Okay. Determined imagination, thinking from the end, is the beginning of all miracles. I would like to give you an immense belief in miracles, but a miracle is only the name given by those who have no knowledge of the power and function of imagination to the works of imagination. Imagining oneself into the feeling of the wish fulfilled is the means by which a new state is entered. This gives the state the quality of isness. Hermes tells us that which is manifested. That which is manifested. That which has been or shall be is unmanifested, but not dead, for so the eternal activity of God animates all things. Okay? That which is manifested. That which is manifested. That which has been or shall be, right? I will do this. I will, right now. I am. That which has been or shall be is unmanifested, but not dead, for so the eternal activity of God animates all things. The future must become the present in the imagination of the one who would wisely and consciously create circumstances. We must translate vision into being, thinking of into thinking from. Imagination must center itself in some state and view the world from that state. Thinking from the end is an intense perception of the world of fulfilled desire. Thinking from the state desired is creative living. Ignorance of this ability to think from the end is bondage. Okay? Ignorance of this ability to think from the end is bondage. It is the root of all bondage with which man is bound. To passively surrender to the evidence of the senses underestimates the capacities of the inner self, right? Now, surrendering to the evidence of the senses, that's when you wanting one thing and you expecting something, right, in your mind, but everything in the outer world is looking like it's not going to go in your favor. It's not going to go in your favor. Don't let that stuff overwhelm you. You have to be strong enough to still stay in the wish fulfilled, knowing that the how of everything is irrelevant, right? What you see on this physical plane has nothing to do with what's going on behind the scenes, right? Nothing. And if God say, this is where I want you, this is where you'll be, right? No matter what the physicals is saying, period. Okay. Once man accepts thinking from the end as a creative principle in which he can cooperate, then he is redeemed from the absurdity of ever attempting to achieve his objective by merely thinking of it. Construct all ends according to the pattern of fulfilled desire. Construct all ends according to the pattern of fulfilled desire. The whole of life is just the appeasement of hunger, and the infinite states of consciousness from which a man can view the world are purely a means of satisfying that hunger. The principle upon which each state is organized is some form of hunger to lift the passion for self gratification to ever higher and higher levels of experience. Desire is the mainspring of the mental machinery. It is a blessed thing. It is a right and natural craving, which has a state of consciousness as its right and natural satisfaction. But one thing I do, forgetting the things which are behind and stretching forward to the things which are before, I press on toward the goal. Philippians 3:13. One second, y'all. This is a lot of stuff going on. Philippians 3:13. It is necessary to have an aim or a purpose in life. Without an aim, we drift. What wantest thou of me is the implied question asked most often by the central figure of the Gospels. In defining your aim, you must want it. As the hart panteth after the water brooks, so panteth my soul after thee, O God. Psalms 42:1. It is lack of this passionate direction to life that makes man fail of accomplishment. The spanning of the bridge between desire, thinking of, and satisfaction, thinking from, is all important. We must move mentally from thinking of the end to thinking from the end. This reason could never do. By its nature, it is restricted to the evidence of the senses. But imagination, having no such limitation, can. Okay. Oh, the queen had an MOC. Let's go. I don't even know. Desire exists to be gratified in the activity of imagination. Through imagination, man escapes from the limitation of the senses and the bondage of reason. Okay. Through imagination, right? Through imagination, anything goes, everything goes, right? Man escapes from the limitation of the senses and the bondage of reason, right? The bondage of reason. I'm a millionaire. In my mind, I'm wealthy, right? I got hundreds and thousands of dollars in my bank account, right? So, but if I go look at my bank account, that's not in there. But in imagination, who cares, right? Nobody cares, right? Or my job is to assume the wish fulfilled. And the how of how it's all going to work out and take place is irrelevant, but I know it's going to happen. Okay. There is no stopping the man who can think from the end. Nothing can stop him. He creates the means and grows his way out of limitation into ever greater and greater mansions of the Lord. It does not matter what he has been or what he is. It does not matter what he has been or what he is. All that matters is, what does he want? He knows that the world is a manifestation of the mental activity which goes on within himself. Right? Let me read that part again. Little key. He knows that the world is a manifestation of the mental activity which goes on within himself. So he strives to determine and control the ends from which he thinks. In his imagination, he dwells in the end, confident that he shall dwell there in the flesh also. Right? Confident. When I just told y'all that about my 100,000, hundreds and hundreds of thousands, I'm confident about this stuff, right? Confident. And I'm not looking for nobody to bring it to me or give it to me or win the lottery. I know I'm a creative, right? Because I'm a creator. So in his imagination, he dwells in the end, confident that he shall dwell there in the flesh also. He puts his whole trust in the feeling of the wish fulfilled and lives by committing himself to that state. For the art of fortune is to tempt him so to do. For the art of fortune is to tempt him so to do. Like the man at the pool of Bethesda, he is ready for the moving of the waters of imagination. Knowing that every desire is ripe grain to him who knows how to think from the end, he is indifferent to mere reasonable probability and confident that through continuous imagination, his assumptions will harden into fact. I'm gonna read that part over. It was a little choppy on my end. Knowing that every desire is ripe grain to him who knows how to think from the end, he is indifferent to mere reasonable probability and confident that through continuous imagination, his assumptions will harden into fact. But how to persuade men everywhere that thinking from the end is the only living, how to foster it in every activity of man, how to reveal it as the plenitude of life and not the compensation of the disappointed, That is the problem, right? So the problem is getting people to actually believe and do these things. Life is a controllable thing. You can experience what you please once you realize that you are his son or daughter, right? And that you are what you are by virtue of the state of consciousness from which you think and view the world. Son, thou art ever with me, and all that I have is thine. Luke 15:31. So that's it, right? And like, I swear, like, I love how it all makes sense. It makes so much sense. Like, even when you was going to church a lot, I used to go to church a lot when I was little, and when they used to be saying all of this stuff, it makes so much more sense now of why, right? It's like the why behind it. Why we doing these things? It's not just like we said earlier, it's not just because if you don't, you're gonna go to hell or heaven or hell. No, it's more to it. It's more to it that we don't know, that we didn't get taught. So I'm grateful. If you took value from this read today, drop me a 444 in the chat. I kept seeing 444 yesterday. So drop a 444 in the chat. Super, super grateful. Super, super thankful that y'all are actually doing doing this stuff, right? Because knowledge is not power. Applied knowledge is power. So, like I keep saying, we can read all the books. If we not actually taking the time to do these things, taking the time to clean up our minds, clean up our life, clean up our act, basically, then it's not going to work for us, right? But if you are taking the time to clean up your act, clean up your life, clean up your heart, clean up your emotions, clean up the way you think about others, the way you think about yourself, the energy that you give, I'm pretty sure you having some changes, right? And the thing is, don't be so controlling about what's changing, how it's changing, when it's changing. Just keep doing your part, right? And let life start revealing itself to you. You don't got to control it. You don't got to control it that much. All we can do is control what we can control. And that's us. That's our inner feeling. That's the things we say to people, the way we make other people feel. That's the light that we bring, right? That's all we can control. We can't control, you know what I'm saying? And it just goes back to, like, when I was doing all of my physical, I was doing the physical part hard, y'all. I was going in on the physical side. And, I just think about my journey at any moment, even right now. I told y'all, like, my nursing degree, at any moment that can be taken away from me, right? I want to create something that nobody can take away from me, something that's mine, right? That's mine. And that's what we're doing here. And look, it's up and it's stuck, y'all. Let me see. Thank you. And I am so grateful for you today. LOL, grateful for you every day. And today is Chase was a blessing. You have an awesome, awesome, super fantastic day. Thank you, Queen. Thank you for today. This was super good. You had an awesome day, Queen. Thank y'all. I appreciate y'all. I super appreciate y'all. And it's just so funny because we started where we started in Free Life, and now we here. And it's just crazy because that's how we like minds and we on the same frequencies, because we all gravitated to this one thing, right? And now we doing this thing, but all of this stuff goes together, right? It all goes together. And honestly, I'd rather take the time now to work on this part of myself and start letting the other stuff flow to me instead of working so hard trying to get $1 million, right? But I don't even got the right mindset. I'm not gonna know what to do with it. The way we doing this stuff right now is the right way. Listen, it's the right way. I had got an angel number, and I had read it, and it basically said, it told me to choose the route where you can do the most good in the world. So at that point, I was going in hard with trying to recruit people into this trading thing and all of this, like, trying to tell people how to enhance their money. And I was just like, no, this is the route where I can do the most good in the world. Because if I can influence and empower somebody to change their mindset and elevate mentally, their whole life gonna elevate regardless, right? If you elevate mentally, everything elevates, and it elevates in a balanced way. Not just this area you wealthy and this area you poor. No, we want to be wealthy in all areas, right? And because wealth is a state of mind, it's a state of consciousness, we already there. We already wealthy. We just got to keep doing our day to day. And listen, it's going to start transforming for us. So that's it, y'all. I'm grateful. Y'all have a super blessed day. Super, super, super fantastic day. Protect y'all energy today. Protect y'all peace. Don't let nobody stress you out. Don't let nobody irritate you. Thank you. Y'all amazing as well. And so, yeah, that's it. I'm your sister in love. I'm your sister in light. Y'all have a super, super fantastic morning, and we'll be back at it tomorrow. It's Friday. Bye, YouTube.